Hi there, I'm Heidi with Onigo Stamping. Welcome to my craft corner. Today I have some really fun cards to share with you using chickens. I know, who thought that chickens could be cute? But these chickens are absolutely adorable and you are going to love them. Of course, I have lots of tips for card making and stamping along the way. Before I get started, if you have any questions about rubber stamping or card making, or you'd like to attend a card making class, or maybe you just want to hang out with me more and do more stamping, I would love to help you with any and all of that. Go ahead and leave me a comment in the comments below or send me an email. In the description to this video, you're going to find a lot of useful links. First of all, you're going to find a link over to my website where you can see photos of today's cards, as well as the cutting dimensions for the card I'm going to share with you. Also in the description to this video, you're going to find a link to my Facebook group, and that is where all the fun happens. I would love for you to come hang out with me over there. There's also a link to my newsletter. This is the best way to stay on top of everything that is happening with Onigo Stamping. If you liked today's video, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share it with all your friends. Okay, Onigo, let's get stamping. For today's card, I'm going to be using the Hey Chick stamp set. Now this stamp set originally came out in 2017 as a celebration item that you could get for free. And they brought it back this year, which I don't think Stampin' Up! Has ever done before, is to bring back a stamp set from Sale-A-Bration and offer it for purchase. There are matching dies that go with it. As you can see, I have actually pulled this one out. I had it left over from 2017. It was still on my shelf. So I have pulled it out, but it does now have matching dies. Now this is a special promotion. It's only available till the end of June. So it's been going on for a while, but it is going to end soon. And I think they are on a while supplies last only status right now. So if you love these little chicks as much as I do, which, you know, I'm not a chicken person, but boy, oh boy, are these some cute chicks. You definitely want to pick this up soon. I also have some really great sayings. Hey chick, you're a good egg and have a happy day. And this chick is my favorite. I think she's a little bit of a wild chick. So along with that stamp set, I'm going to be using our new 6x6 Designer Series paper. Now this paper comes in each of our different color families, as well as the 2 sets of ink colors. I grabbed some colors from the new 2021-2023 ink color pack. And let me show you the patterns we have here. So some of them, they're not 6x6 because I had to use them. So we have the polished pink, the soft succulent, fresh freesia, pale papaya, which is like my favorite new color, and then the evening evergreen. And you can see these gorgeous patterns. Now last year the patterns were kind of like the color and white, and this year they're much more a tone on tone pattern, which I really love these tone on tone patterns. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. So you can see you get, I think, 4 pieces of each one of the ink colors. The normal color families come with 2 pieces of each, and they have they're double-sided. So here's the designs on one side. You can see there's kind of a fleur-de-lis kind of ish, not really, a little pattern and a dot and line pattern, and then you turn it over and you get these gorgeous ones. And of course my favorite is this plaid one here, but just lovely. I really like these patterns. I'm excited about them, so we're going to use some of those today as well. Let's go ahead and get started. So I have some, you can see I've already cut part of it. I have some basic white cardstock, and I'm going to use the Taylormade tags. Let me pull these out for you and show you what they are, because these are really great. I have been loving these. I've been using these on tons of projects. Taylormade tags, it's a set of 10, and inside you'll see there's 2 different styles of tags. We have this one with a regular like shipping tag with a squared off top. And then this one that's a little bit fancier. I don't know, I wouldn't call it super fancy, but it's got kind of a different top to it. And they both have stitching around them. And then for both of them, they have some reinforcements that match with them. So you can cut out reinforcements to go on them. And then there are 4 different size tags. They are perfect. They're just great. You can make small tags or big tags, and I've been using them for everything. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these tag dies out of here. We'll set that aside. I'm going to grab my Big Shot plates. Now, if you have the new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, you're going to use those plates instead. I don't have them, so I'm still using my old Big Shot. going to put down my cutting plate first. You can see my cutting plate is really, really chewed up. But it's still nice and flat, and I keep it nice and flat because I flip it over often, and I also cut all the way around. I don't just cut in the center. I think that goes a long way to keeping your plates nice and flat, is to make sure that you're moving around. This one, of course, is, let's put it over here. See, I'll push it over to the side there. I'm going to put my top plate on, and then I'm going to run this through my Big Shot. So I cut that with my cut and emboss machine, or my Big Shot actually. I'm going to just set the die aside, and I'm going to grab my favorite chicken. I want to make sure he is on here really well, which he is not. So a few years ago, Stampin' Up redid their cling mount stamps, and they got a new cling, which is really, really good because it is super, super sticky. And you do have to be a little bit careful when you peel your stamps off. But the nice thing is that they really stick to your blocks instead of falling off like this one has a tendency to do. So we're just going to stamp her right there. Oh, she's so cute. And I'm going to come in with the Hey Chick stamp. We'll just ink that one up. And I'm going to stamp that right below. There we go. She is adorable. And of course, I'm using the Memento ink pad because I am going to use Stampin' Blends. Anytime you use Stampin' Blends alcohol markers, you always want to use the Memento ink for that. You can sometimes get away with the regular Stampin' Up Stampin' pads, but that's a little bit tricky and something to experiment with a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and color in my little chicken. Let me grab some blends. I'm going to grab the Pale Papaya and the Polished Pink because they're my favorite, along with a little bit of the Crumb Cake. I'm going to grab my color lifter too while I'm at it. So I'm going to start with my Crumb Cake, and I'm going to color in this chicken's body. I'm starting with the light. Sometimes I start with the light, sometimes I start with the dark. Today I'm going to start with the light. And I am just going to color in that whole chicken body. Rotate my piece of paper a little bit to get over here to the sides because I like to use that tip to get right up to the edge. It's great for doing that. Color in around her little beak. And she has a little bit between her little top feathers. I'm just going to color a little bit of her tail. That is with the light Crumb Cake. Then I'm going to come back in with the dark Crumb Cake. And we're just going to add in some shading. Twist this around again. We'll shade over here, shade on the bottom, maybe back here a little bit on her tail. We'll go over those feathers. Anytime that Stampin' Up gives you detail lines, I always like to go over the detail lines a little bit when I am doing the shading. So there's the dark, and now I'm actually going to come back in with the light, and I'm just going to go over the edge and go a little bit into the rest of the chicken as well, but still kind of leave some lighter bits. All right, now what I like to do is I'm going to come in with my color lifter, and I'm just going to color over this a little bit, and this is going to kind of give it a mottled look to it as it dries. So that's just kind of fun. All right, let's come in for the hair, shall we? So I'm going to start with some Pale Papaya, and I'm going to do mostly, so this is the light Pale Papaya. I'm going to do this kind of the back because we're going to do the front. She is a wild chick. We're going to do the front in some Polished Pink. We're going to do the underneath ones in Pale Papaya. And I'm going to come in here and do her tail feathers in a little bit of Pale Papaya too. And just kind of work those into the back. I like the way that the light Pale Papaya and the Crumb Cake, you can kind of blend them out together. I'm going to come in with the dark Pale Papaya and just add a little bit towards the bottoms, towards her head more. Right, there we go. Oh, she's looking cute. All right, let's add some polished pink. And try to come in here with my polished pink. And I find that the light polished pink does lighten up a bit as it dries. But we're going to start with the light one and just color all of this. Oops. Did a little oopsie there. It's okay though. My hand's getting a little bit shaky, which is not good for coloring. All right. There we go. Oh, she's so cute. Now I'm going to come in with the dark. I'm going to use the smaller tip. And again, just going to come in here towards the very center and just kind of give it a darker, a brighter pink for our wild and crazy chicken. I'm going to come in with the dark pale papaya. I'm going to use that for her beak and her feet. Let's just do a little bit on the tips. Those a little bit darker. There we go. All right. One more thing I want to do. I'm going to grab my light crumb cake and we're just going to give her something to stand on. I just like it. I don't like it when objects are kind of, you know, floating in space. So we're just going to give her a little ground to stand on. And then I like to come over that and just lighten it a little bit with my color lifter. I almost wish there was a color even lighter than the light crumb cake, but there we go. So there is our cute little chick. Isn't she adorable? Oh, I just love her. Love her, love her, love her. I want to put some ribbon in the top here. So I'm going to start with the pale papaya and white ribbon. And I'm just going to thread this through the top. And then we will cut off. We'll cut off the top here. We'll trim that up in just a minute, but that is a good place to start. Now, I have the new Baker's Twine Essentials pack, and I have 2 vanillas in there because I almost used up a whole pack already, and this is just, there was just the vanilla left, so I just stuck it in the same bag. But there's crumb cake in there. I'm going to pull out the crumb cake. I'm just going to make everything match. Pull that out. And I'm just gonna, normally, you know, I do this on the roll, but I'm just gonna go ahead and cut off a piece. That is probably way, way longer than what I actually need. Maybe we'll double it up. Do I have enough to double it up? I don't think so. I'm just gonna end up with a lot of extra. This piece is way too big. All right, which is why I usually just do it on the roll, because either I cut it too big or I cut it too small. So I like to just leave it on the roll, and that way I only cut what I need. How about you? Do you leave it on the roll or do you cut it off to be able to tie it? I'm sure everybody does it differently, right? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just tie this in a bow. Now, when I am tying in a bow, I'll tell you a little trick. People ask me all the time, how do I get a good bow? Well, that's hard because it really mostly takes practice. But if you look at this, you'll notice, and this is really hard to show. I'm going to try to bring this up here where you can see it. All right, you'll notice that this string over here is kind of coming out the top, right? Instead of the bottom. If I pull it this way, it has to go back over itself. So what I want to do is when I go to pull this around, I'm going to make my loop over here with my right hand. And when I go to pull this around, if I were tying my shoes, I'd probably just tie it like this from the bottom over the top. But to get this bow straight, since this is coming out the top, I actually want to come down from the top and do it that way. And this will help get you a straighter bow. So now to keep the baker's twine from flipping, I don't know. That's a whole other problem. But there we go. Hold that down. always like to hold the center as I'm pulling out the loops, because that will just help it keep it a little bit tighter. There we go. And then I'm just going to trim these up a little bit. Super cute. She's adorable. Love her. All right, there we go. Trim these off. I want to do one more thing to my little chickie here. I'm going to grab the loose flower flourishes. I love these. These are so cute. And they have been on back order and stuff. Well, they were on back order and now they're available, except I think they're maybe going on back. They're close to going on back order again. I'm not sure. I can't keep up with it. But I'm going to grab one of the little pale papaya ones. I'm going to use a mini glue dot. Now those I pulled out of my paper pumpkin kits, because the paper pumpkin kits, they give you enough mini glue dots like that you could use them to put the entire kit together. But I find that difficult, so mostly I just use my green glue instead. And then I save all those little mini glue dots to use for other things. So, but those are for my paper pumpkin kit. All right. So there I put a little flower in her hair, and I'm just going to grab my polished pink. Oops. And of course I got it where I didn't want it. All I want to do is put a little bit of polished pink right in the center. There we go. Oh, she's so cute. I love the little flower in her crazy wild hair. All right, let's put this whole thing together. So another thing that I want to use on this card is I'm going to use the dots embossing folder. Let me show you this. The dots and the checks come together. They're so cute. I'm so excited that we have dots. Love the dots. So I want to show you first, I'm going to use the dots, but I want to show you first what the checks look like. So this is, I just ran this through my embossing folder. You can see what those checks look like. Aren't they cute? These will fit in the mini cut and emboss machine, but not the way I'm going to do it today. So I have a piece of 11 by 4¼ inch cardstock, and I have scored it at 5.5. I am going to grab my Big Shot platform, and then I need one cutting plate on the bottom. Now, for this, normally when you are running an embossing folder through your embossing machine, you always want to run the folded edge through first, because this will help keep your embossing folder from breaking. If you run it through this way first, it can kind of push the plates out of line and it could crack it down here. Today, I actually want to run it this way, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bottom, and I just want to get dots on the bottom here. So I'm going to slide this in like this. And we're just going to put some dots on the bottom portion of this. Now, when I do this, I also want to be very, very careful. You want to try to not let this fold hang out from the edges of your cutting plates, because if that fold gets caught in the side of your cut and emboss machine, it could just take that fold right off. It will shear off the edges of the plastic embossing folders. So you want to be very, very careful that this is really lined up. If you have to let this edge hang a little bit, if that gets cut off by your machine, that is not going to hurt you. But if you break this fold, then your embossing folder really isn't going to work. Let me just straighten this up, and then I'm going to run this through my embossing machine. I ran that through my Big Shot machine. I'm going to take off my embossing folder, and now you can see I just have those beautiful dots at the bottom there. Oh, I love them. All right, let's go ahead and fold this in half, and let's put our card together. My bone folder, I love my bone folder. If you don't have a bone folder, I'm telling you, I used to years and years. I never had. I was like, why should I have a bone folder? It makes a world of difference. It really, really does. It is so much easier to make a nice clean fold. All right, I have a piece of that designer series paper. This is 3 inches by 4 3/4. And then I have a piece of soft suede cardstock, and the soft suede cardstock is an 1/8 inch bigger. Now, normally I would do a 1/4 inch or 3/16 inch bigger, but for this one, we're actually going to adhere it flush on one side, and that means that I only want it to be an 1/8 inch bigger. So it is, let me see if I can do the math here. It is 4 7/8 by 3 1/8. And of course, I will put these dimensions on my website for you so that you have them. So we'll just pop this down here. There we go. Oh, so pretty. And then this is going to go on our card front. It is going to go right over here, so you can see how I'm putting this kind of flush on the side and the bottom. A little bit different card design today. And then I have a piece of the polished pink, and I used a different pattern for the polished pink. And this is 1 1/2 by 3 3/4. And again, I made this a 1/4 inch bigger this way and just 1/8 this way. So this piece of soft suede is 1 3/4 by 3 7/8. I love the grid paper. I don't know if you can't see it because it didn't quite make it in the frame, but the Stampin' Up! Grid paper is absolutely awesome for making projects because it has measurements on the top and the bottom and both sides. So it makes it really easy to measure things that you've cut, especially when you're making mats for something like, how big did I make that piece? And then you can just measure it up. So nice. And what's nice is on the back, it has the centimeters. So the one side has imperial measurements and one side has metric. So we get both. All right. Just using my multi-purpose glue, my green glue on this. And then this piece is going to come right in here, just like that. Now the last step is to add my little chick. And for that, I am going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals. You know what? I need to pull out a new sheet of dimensionals. All right. So pop this on the back. I'm going to put 5 of them on here. I like to make sure that it's nice and covered so it doesn't get smashed in the mail. And then I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool and I'm just going to use the pokey end and pull those backs off. It kind of keeps all those little backs corralled in one spot and makes it easier to get them in the trash can where they belong. All right. Let's make sure this is right. Now we'll just stick her right on here. And there you go, our fun little hey chick. Isn't she cute? Oh, she's adorable. So let me, I want to show you one more thing. I'm not going to show you how to make, I have 2 more card samples to show you. And I'm not going to show you exactly how to make them, but I do want to show you kind of a tip. So here is, I have a piece of 2 1/2 by 2 3/4 inch. And I want to stamp my other 2 chicks so they're kind of overlapping. So I'm going to start with the first one. I'm going to ink her up in some Memento ink. And she's just going to go right over here. Now I'm going to take her, and I have a sticky note here. Yep. And I'm going to stamp her on my sticky note. I'm going to stamp her right up here towards the top where it's sticky. And then I will take my paper snips and we'll just cut right along the top. Now I don't have to do this too carefully. You'll see it kind of is all like it's feathery on the edges, and I don't really worry about that. For this, I want to cut right on that line, maybe even like into the line, right? Or even to the inside of the line, almost. So I've got to cut around her head. That's kind of the most challenging part. Even if you have the dies for the set, when you're doing this technique, you don't want to use the dies because you do need to cut really, really close. And like I said, either over the line or to the inside of the line. And I'm not going to worry about her foot. We're just going to cut it off, and that should be plenty right there. Now I'm going to take my sticky note and I'm going to cover up. I'm going to cover up my little chicken. There you go, chickadoo. Now I want to grab my other chicken, and I'm going to ink her up, and then she is going to come right in here and stamp right over top. Now what happens when I pull this off is that one chicken is in front of the other. And let me show you the card that I made with this. I can pull it out. Here we go. So there's those two chickens. And I added some of the in color gems. These I think are on back order. They're like not available, which is really too bad because they're really colorful and bright. But there's another card so you can see the similarities. And then I have one last card where I use the egg, and I love this one too. It's really cute. So it says, "You're a good egg." Isn't that adorable? So cute. So what do you think of those chickens? Are they absolutely adorable? Or are you still not completely sure about them? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, make sure that you like, subscribe, share this video with all your friends, and then come on back and see me for more tips, techniques, and inspiration. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.